legal costs this year and very low utility costs. So that will be the primary source of this funding. I also wanted to note that in the budget report, it does show an encumbrance for a legal settlement that had been discussed in executive session with the school committee earlier this year. Interestingly, any legal settlement by virtue of the chart of accounts function definitions that the DESE uses, those legal settlements show up in the Finance and Administrative Services line, which is the second row down on the budget report. So that's just the nomenclature that is used to include that cost. So I thought it necessary to, or appropriate to mention that, because it shows the Finance and Administrative Services line in the red, as you can see, by $58,000 due to the encumbrance, which is subsumed within that FY12 committed line. It shows $108,000, not all of which, of course, is the legal settlement. I just thought that was kind of an important note to mention moving forward. That's where those things exist. So, once again, I'm confident we'll be able to carry forward those funds, and we're working hard to see if we can carry forward even more in order to continue to have flexibility next year. So, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Comments?
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Next, we have staffing.
Yes, I would like to share with you a piece of sad news. Our middle school chorus teacher, Mr. Thaddeus Bell, resigned from his position as of Friday, May 4th, for personal reasons. A long-term substitute has been hired for the remainder of the school year, and so we will post to fill that position for next year.
Bids and donations done tonight.
There's a donation from
There is,
Mr.
okay.
Chuck Bruner, representing a company called Z-Mote in Burlington, Mass. Mr. Bruner is a parent of a daughter who's a junior at North Reading High School and a daughter in grade 6 at the middle school. And he recently closed an office and provided an opportunity for us to take a look at some equipment that he wished to donate to the school district. And I can tell you that Mr. Nelson and Mrs. Lundell went to this place of business, shared information with our technology support staff, and as a result, technology equipment was donated in the form of 9 desktop PCs, 2 servers, 4 flat screen monitors, and an assortment of video cables.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I have a motion to accept this generous donation with gratitude.
So
Moved by Mr. Bowers,
second.
second by Ms. Urquetti. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
I don't think so.
Opposed? Unanimous. Next, we have subcommittee reports. I don't believe we have any subcommittee reports tonight, do we?
Nope.
We do have upcoming subcommittee meetings. We have the athletics subcommittee, which will be May 22nd at 12:30. We have policy subcommittee, May 23rd at 5 p.m. We have the NORCAM board meeting, May 24th at 7 p.m. And then we have a TBD on the evaluation subcommittee. We'll have to work to set that up now that I'm involved in that. Okay. Great. Administrative reports?
Yes, I had distributed earlier a very short supplemental administrative report under the title of Student Recognition. I just wanted to make you aware that we have 3 seniors from this year's graduating class who will be honored this Wednesday by the Merrimack Valley Superintendents Association during the Academic Scholars Luncheon that will be held at Lindsay's Restaurant. Those students are Alexander Bean, Ryan Donegan, and Brianna Goddard. So we're very
Congratulations.
very excited about that.
That's great.
I'd also like to bring to your attention, the North Reading Public Schools applied for and was selected to participate in a 2-year partnership with the American Academy of Pediatrics under the Enhancing School Health Services through Training, Education, Assistance, Mentorship, and Support Project, also known as TEAMS. And the school nurses took the lead on this particular RFP, this application process. A total of 10 teams were selected to participate in this first teams project cohort. And what the nurses will work on in these 2 years will be to engage stakeholders and foster partnerships to support improvements in school health services, policies and practices, to assess our current state of affairs in school health services, policies and practices, identify and prioritize key areas for improvement, develop an action plan and mobilize support, and implement and evaluate changes to health services, policies, and practices. And a copy of the notification letter is in your packet. So we're very proud of them.
This is a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal. We're very excited about this. And finally, I'd just like to mention to you that the U.S. News and World Report on best high schools came out. North Reading is not ranked this year, but Mr. Webster did do some fact-finding.
I can't figure it out, why we're not ranked, and I'm trying to understand the methodology. They've come up with this index that they call a college readiness index. And North Reading is at 36.7, which is higher than just about every other school in this area, and higher than some schools that are on the list. So it makes, for example, Newburyport High School has a far lower readiness index than we have, college readiness index, yet they made the list of top high schools. There's some demographic issues, there's other things. I think that might be one of the issues here. One of the schools that made the list, for example, Lynn Classical, had a college readiness index that was in the single digits, yet it made the list for top high schools in America.
But you're assuming that U.S. News and World Report is a reputable publication with standards.
Well, it makes no sense.
Is this the same one we've been in the top?
Oh, that was
15?
Newsweek. Newsweek
Oh,
was
Newsweek,
Newsweek.
yes,
That was
twice.
Newsweek.
I couldn't get it either.
So here's just a couple. So our college readiness index would place us in the top 800 high schools in the country out of 22,000.
Wow.
We were 36.7. I'll give you some of the surrounding schools. Reading is 30. North Andover is 30.8. Wilmington's 23.6. Linfield's 35.5. We're higher than Linfield. The only 3 schools in our area that are higher are Andover High School, which is 45.1, Manchester Essex 47.3, and Massanutten at 39.
Masco, huh?
Ipswich is 28.1. As I said, Newburyport 32.6. So, in terms of the index, and it's based, a lot of it is based on AP tests, percentage taking AP tests, and the AP test scores.
Right.
And again, I looked at the AP test scores, and we ranked pretty high among all Massachusetts schools. So I don't understand what they're doing here.
It doesn't patch with the data that, or the listing.
Can we appeal?
And the data and so forth. that's in
Again,
the
you're
table.
assuming it's a reputable publication
It
with
doesn't
standards.
Patch.
Well, they do these so people buy reprints and spend money so they can market
They
the
do
results.
it to torment you, Mr. Webster.
No, because they're selling, if you were on the list, they're selling the rights to gold, silver, and bronze badges from U.S. News and World
Really?
Report. So you can
very
put
smart.
you can put the badge on all your materials for that year, but you have to pay for the right to do that. But I found it satisfying that our college readiness index is so much higher than most of the surrounding schools in this area. I think that's
I think I figured out why we didn't come up on their list. They knew we wouldn't buy the badges.
right.
We don't need no stinking bag.
Right, exactly.
All
Exactly.
right, our next meetings are.
Okay, our next meetings are Monday, May 21st, which is next week here, and then we have town meeting on June 4th. We will convene at 6:30, half hour prior to town meeting. Then Monday, June 11th, and Monday, June 25th.
Please note there will be cupcakes at the June 11th meeting because my birthday's the next day.
I actually should, that's another thing to make note of quickly. The legislature and the governor
Knocked out the.
overturned the law
Troutman
that
bill.
would have banned bake sales in schools.
My husband had something to do with that.
I'm very happy with that.
That was the Dr. Trouton bill, wasn't it?
That was, I think that was the David, David.
It
David's
was.
been trying to ban
There will be bake
cupcakes
sale
for
items.
how long?
I'm not selling them. I'm going to give
For
them
at
away
least 10
free.
years.
But then remember we found out he was buying the cupcakes at the bake sales even though he was trying to ban them? It was kind of a, anyway,
Totally
anything
wrong.
else? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Very good.
8:57.